Mr. Hitler, if you think we're on the run. We are the boys who will stop your little game. We are the boys who will make you think again. 'Cause who do you think you are kidding, Mr. Hitler, if you think old England's done? Mr. Brown goes off to town on the A21, but he comes home each evening and he's ready with his gun. So who do you think you are kidding, Mr. Hitler, if you think old England's done?
Hello. Well, I wonder if this setting looks familiar to you. If so, you're possibly among the many millions who tuned in over the years to see one of British TV sitcom's finest half hours, Dad's Army. Always wanted to do this. You stupid boy.
Right.
Number, please.
Warmington-on-Sea. I've forgotten the number.
You stupid boy. It's Warmington-on-Sea. Just a moment. Wilson! Wilson!
Yes?
Just checking on the number.
Oh, yes. 333, sir.
Quite correct.
It was a humorous and affectionate tribute to the Home Guard in World War II, whose mission was to act as the final backstop against Nazi invasion. Everyone remembers Arthur Lowe as Captain Mannering and John Le Mesurier as Sergeant Wilson, battling against their arch-enemy, the ARP warden, played by Bill Pertwee. But each of the 80 episodes, recorded between 1968 and 1977, had many unfamiliar faces in the show as well. These were the men, women and children who were recruited as extras, and they played anything from a sea scout to the front legs of a dragon. But they all had one thing in common: none of them had a speaking role, that is, until now, and we've managed to track some of those extras down, and indeed the man who recruited them, Keith Eldred. Do you have any silk stockings for me there?
Have you your coupons, madam?
Sadly, not with me at the moment.
Well,
no.
perhaps we can arrange something a little bit special for you.
Oh, I see. How lovely, yes. I don't need any, you know.
Oh,
Sweet
really?
enough, as they say.
Of course.
Now, you recruited, as I mentioned, the extras. Where did the extras come from?
Well, from the Thetford Music and Drama Society, of which I was chairman, which was the reason I was asked in the first place to provide the extras.
So, who decided which roles they were going to have? Was this down to you?
Yes, David Croft would just give me a list of what he required, whether he wanted Sea Scouts or a group of nurses. Nurses could come from the Drama Society, the Sea Scouts perhaps from the Cubs. Older people would come from my parents or the Rotary Club.
Yeah. So, did you have any trouble getting them in the show?
None whatsoever. I became probably the most popular person in Thetford.
I bet. And did they get paid for this?
Not to start with, no. I suppose 1969-70, I think it was all voluntary, and then Equity suggested that it would be proper if we were paid, and so we started getting paid probably something like £7 a show, I think.
Right, so not a fortune, but
No.
but just the sheer pleasure of being in it. So what was it like in Thetford at that time? Because he was a sort of fairly possibly sleepy town, taken over by this enormous television crew. It must have been a very exciting time.
That's right. Wherever they went, they took over probably Nether Row, which was the road I lived in, or they'd go to the Brandon station, and that would be closed practically while the whole station yard was used.
Yeah.
Some of the shots were in the battle area. The test match was in the battle area, so we go over there. Bardwell Green we took over. That was the time I drove John Le Mesurier in the Rolls Royce, I think it was, and as I opened the door, a lady rushed out of a nearby cottage with a glass of gin and tonic for him. He was very pleased to see her.
He didn't drink it, obviously.
No,
of course not.
of course not.
So you were in 4 episodes. So which was the most memorable one for you, do you
I
think?
think probably the test match where Freddie Truman came down. It was freezing cold in October it was, and he was asked to go and bowl, and he went behind the crease, and the cameraman pushed him round and round in the most unnatural position for him to bowl from. Anyway, he rushed up to the wicket, knocked the stumps down, and that was him for the day.
And you still made that one? You're not on the cutting room floor?
No, I was backward short-legged to Captain Mannering, and the curious thing there was that the continuity didn't quite work. I was there for the first shot, and they got to call me for the second shot, and the third shot I had my glasses on, so
oh dear.
You can pick this up if you're looking for it, but I'm looking for it, you see.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, let's have a look at it.
Okay.
As plain as the nose on your face. You're out. You're out.
Try to control your staff, Vicar.
Thetford's famous landmarks from the series have become tourist attractions in their own right. So much so that Thetford Heritage and Tourism Partnership now runs regular Dad's Army experience tours around the town. Stuart Wright is one of the guides. So talk us through a day on the tour.
Well, we bring them here for 10:30, perhaps 10 in the morning for a morning coffee. Then we take them round the Dad's Army Trail, round Thetford, bringing them back here for lunch.
So which locations can people come and have a look at?
We take them around all the Thetford locations, such as Newtown, the housing estate, which was used in a couple of 3 episodes, one being Museum Piece, where the horse and cart stops at every house, and also the Lion Has Phones, where they're in camouflaged as dustbins in the street. We also take to Mill Lane, which is probably the most famous episode, the Deadly Attachment, where the U-boat crew are captured.
Yeah.
And
they march them down the street.
To the imaginary harbour. And that's a backdrop of a factory, which is probably 4 times as long in the actual filming as it is in real life. And then we move on to Nether Row, which is probably the most photogenic of the street scenes in Thetford, and that was used in 4 episodes. And we had the Time on My Hands episode, where the German parachutist was suspended above the town hall. The Guildhall was also used in that episode.
Right, and then you can go on to have a look at Bressingham, where they've got a museum there, of course.
Yes, Bressingham's got a mock-up of the Warmington-on-Sea street scene, the various things like the church hall, cinema, and they've also got some nice collection of photographs of the locations that were used around the area, and also a few vehicles that were used in the series.
But no beach?
No beach, no.
Well, it has such lasting appeal, and I think many people, of course, remember lots of the sayings from it. I think my favourite is, "You stupid boy," or words to that effect. Do you have a favourite?
I think the one in Deadly Attachment, where they had the U-boat commander, and the "Don't Tell 'em Pike" by Mannering is my favourite.
Well, go on, do it in the proper accent then.
Don't tell him, Pike!
Don't tell him, Pike. Pike.
Derek Mortimer was an extra in at least 4 episodes of Dad's Army, but with the exception of one of those shows, his other roles landed up on the cutting room floor. But when I spoke to him earlier, he told me about his on-screen moment of glory, which was in Time on Your Hands, and it was a role which he hadn't quite expected.
I'd been to wardrobe, and I was coming through the town that morning dressed as a guards officer in mufti. And I was very pleased with myself because I was wearing a bowler hat, Brigade of Guards style, straight across the eye, nice pinstripe trousers and so on. And I'm parading myself through the town, and suddenly a voice behind me says, "Say, old chap, you'll have to go back to wardrobe. Your hair's not right for that." And that was David Croft, who had been following me through the town. So they sent me back to wardrobe, and the only thing they could think of making me into was a tramp. And to do this, because I had a goatee, to do this, tramps don't have trimmed goatees, so they would put crepe hair all over my face, put me in this filthy Macintosh, and this terrible scarf, similar to Pike's, only filthy, and a felt hat that was pulled down over my ears, and I thought, well, nobody's going to see me. I was quite happy in the bowler. Nobody's going to see me, so I sort of turned the brim up a bit and then took a pose which I thought would be in camera, because we were filming here in Nether Row, and it was Time on My Hands.
The Nazi pilot has bailed out and he's hanging from the town hall roof. Come on, quick!
What?
Don't panic, don't panic! There's a Nazi paratrooper dangling from the clock tower of the town hall.
Yes.
He's dangling.
We know, we're just going.
I'll get my rifle and my bayonet, sir.
Don't need your bayonet.
Yes, I do when he comes down. They don't like it up.
Now, we were talking about the saying there, because a lot of people know them, don't they? Which was yours, do you think, from that series?
I think it was John Laurie and his popping eyes and the look of horror as he swivels his eyes around. You're doomed.
We're doomed.
We're all doomed.
You're all doomed, you know.
He's doomed. Doomed.
Well, not all Dad's Army extras are remembered for their faces. In this clip taken from Nights of Madness, Sean Skilton's claim to fame is playing the front legs of a dragon. Well, here are those famous legs, as seen on TV, the front end of a dragon. And, let's put a face to it. Hello, yes, that was your starring role.
It was indeed, that's right, yeah.
Now, that was a few years ago. You must have been a bit of a young lad then.
I was 14.
The leg's a little bit shorter, but perhaps
That's
not
right,
a lot.
just a little bit, yeah.
So how did you get involved?
Well, I was part of the local Air Training Corps, ATC, 1109 Squadron here in Thetford. And they wanted some extras for a band and to play some characters. So being part of the band, we came in and started doing the acting. And they needed someone tall for the front of the dragon. So hence I became known legs.
So you did have a sort of other role as well. You weren't just covered up as a dragon. Yeah.
There was 2 roles in total. I was playing the drum of the snares of the ATC band at the time, being dressed up actually not as ATC but as Sea Cadets. So we had a role where we had to walk past the camera. And then later on we had a second shoot of the dragon. So
did you go on to be a dragon in any other starring roles at all?
Not at all. I left my acting days back there when I was 14.
And how about the drum?
No, not at all.
What about the back end of the dragon? Do you ever keep in touch?
Yeah, I still see him. He's here in Thetford as well. So yes, I do see him a few times.
And do you sort of reenact the part?
Not at all, no.
Could be a bit embarrassing, I suppose, couldn't it?
Do be careful, sir. What are you going to do, Frank? Oh, it's ever so good, Uncle Arthur. It's like that film, Robin Hood.
Well, obviously, Dad's Army was filmed on several locations around the Thetford area, and of course, the extras and the stars of the show had to get there. And how did they get there? With the help of this man, Ray Williams, who actually was the coach driver. So you took them out to all these locations.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what were they actually like to work with?
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. They were nice people. I did feel that I was being looked after. I was part of the crew, and because I used to have a little bit of a laugh with the actors and one thing and another.
Excellent, yeah. One of the treats was looking at the rushes on a Saturday evening, I think. Yeah. And where was that?
That was usually done at the Palace Theatre in Thetford, which I used to love going because I used to take my wife to see it as well. Mm-hmm. And I always thought that was funnier than the actual show because the cameramen, being comedians, they used to put lots of stuff in, either deliberately or accidentally, which weren't in the show. So that was always quite funny because we always saw it before it was cut. And we used to sit there and roaring, with laughter. And
did all the cast and everyone go along?
Yeah, mainly, yeah. I think they was all there because after that we used to go down for a drink, which was another treat, of course. We used to go back to the Anchor or the Bell and all have a drink and then off we go.
Yeah.
And,
so it's obviously very, very happy times for you. And when you look at the episodes now, presumably you watch them, do you still? So if the camera just moved along just a little bit.
They would have got me, yeah.
Well, I tell you what, we've got you now. You're in there. Solo. Here is this man. Your 15 minutes of fame.
Brilliant.
Next up, we have Pam Spencer, who really suffered for her art when she dressed up as a Queen Alexandra nurse.
Nurses, jump!
1, 2, 3, 1.
And what were the conditions like for filming? Because you had quite a tough time, I believe.
Well, we did hang about rather a long time, and this particular one, as a nurse, we filmed on Bardwell Green, and it was extremely hot and very sunny, and we sat about all day, of course, on Bardwell Common, waiting to be called for our filming. And at the end of the day, when I got back and took all these clothes off and had a look at my face, and it was just one big red mark and this white mark around the forehead area where the headdress had come down. And so I thought, well, I've got to do something about this. So I went up to Norwich a couple of days later and said to the lady in the makeup counter that I was going to a dance, but I'd been on location filming with Dad's Army. So, of course, this was great. So she really hurried around and she got things going and fixed me up with some good makeup to disguise all this. But,
excellent. Yes. Did you send the bill to the Dad's Army?
I should have done.
You should have done, shouldn't
Yes.
you? And when you looked at the finished product, was it quite different to how you thought it was going to turn out?
Totally amazing, yes. Yeah. We'd spent all day filming, and then the camera shot that I was in, marching along with the rest of the nurses, must have been all of 3 seconds.
No,
so all that time.
The price of fame,
yes.
Yeah, but well worth it. Yeah.
Yes.
One of the things that people do remember, of course, about the series are lots of the catchphrases, as we would call it now. Did you have a particular favourite at all there?
Oh, I think it was Stupid Boy, yes.
Stupid Boy, yes, a memorable one. But can you do it a la Mannering, do you think, for us?
I'll have a go.
Go on then, right.
Stupid Boy.
Do you know, I thought he was back in the room.
Somerset! Up! Fall the men in! Good! Fall in!
Well, I'm here with the lady of the house, Margot, and I mention the house in particular because many a jolly occasion here, I think, with some of the Dad's Army cast.
Yes, well, I mean, mostly with the Music and Drama Society here, but on one occasion, Keith, my husband, did ask the Dad's Army cast to come back for a party, or for a drink, I think, but it turned into a party. And I wasn't really prepared for this and wasn't given much warning, and within a very short time we'd run out of gin and whiskey and sort of everything else.
And that was just one person.
Well, it didn't take many.
No,
and,
really.
you know, there's quite a lot of our drama society here as well, and John Le Mesurier got onto the piano and began to play and complained it was out of tune, so we had to give him a few extra gins to put him in a good mood. And I think the only person missing from that was Jimmy Beck, who was busy chatting up one of the young ladies who lived in the town. He was out on the tiles with her, but I think everybody else was
really. So
yes.
he was true to his character.
He was, absolutely.
In fact, were they true to their characters in some respects? Did you think?
I think they were a bit. Whether they carried on sort of acting in them when they were off duty, I don't know. But I think they were so well cast that I just thought of them as being in their character.
Indeed,
yes.
Indeed. As you say, did they play up to it? Who knows? Yeah. So, how many episodes were you in?
I can remember being in 3. The Parade, which was done at Brandon, and the one that was filmed down Nether Row, which was Hanging Around, and then there was one on Bardwell Village Green, but I can't remember the title for that one.
What characters were you?
At Bardwell I was a JP, sitting on desk, and the one down Nether Row I was just a sort of a neighbour, if you like, looking on. And I was a Queen Alexander nurse in the Parade at Brandon.
And of course, non-speaking part.
Non-speaking.
So yes. This is the first time we've heard you talk.
Absolutely.
For 30 years.
Here! Hey, don't blow it here. Come with me. Blow it here and I'll give you 6pence.
Go away, boy.
Well done. Here you are.
Well, a snippet there of Tim Ball, an extra, with a difference, I would say. You had somewhat of a leading role, Tim, in this.
The role I was playing, I was part of the Sea Scout group, and I was singled out to be the bugle boy in the morning, to blow reveille, get everybody up. And as the episode went on, you could see that Mannering was very aggravated that we were there, and the warden, as he was always trying to get one upon him, said, I'll give you 6pence if you wake Mannering up directly in his tent and by blowing the bugle through the canvas. And I was told to play it painfully, in keeping with the show's ethos. And the rest of it, as you could see, went off very well.
Well, it's about 30 years, possibly, since you've been on the silver screen, if we can call it that.
Yep.
And you have your trusty bugle with you, the one, the actual one. So, another go at the reveille?
Yeah, I will give it a good go. I haven't blown this for a little while now, but I'll just see what noise we can get out of it, shall we?
All right, lovely, OK.
So I think if you were woken up with that in the morning in a tent from a good night's sleep, you'd have been sharing the same attitude as Captain Mannering there,
Yes.
I think.
there, Mr. Jones.
Half dozen eggs, Pikey.
Can I have one, please?
No. I take them to Mrs. Prosser. I look after her sometimes. I don't think it'll come to anything. She's 83. I've got to leave it. You'd better be getting along, Pikey.
Oh, look. They're giving away free polish.
So you can watch it on TV, you can hear it on radio, and now you can enjoy your very own Dad's Army experience by taking a tour around Thetford. Details coming up in just a moment. But for now, I wonder if Jonesy could spare us a couple of bangers for me tea. Strictly under the counter. Bye for now. You stupid boy.